Good morning and welcome to our 20th annual breakfast. And we would first like everybody to stand to welcome in the new class of 1965. Okay, if we could have everyone quiet and refrain from talking during the program, please. It won't be long and you can socialize again. But I'd appreciate everybody being quiet for a short time, please. If we could please start with a moment of silence for all our alumni that we have lost in the last year, please. Thank you. If all the vets would come up front and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, vets, and thank you for serving. I would just like to announce that this year's recipient, Sierra Cravatis, and Sierra is now in Helena, Montana, as she has a job where she will be going to college at Carroll College for elementary education. Sierra's mom, Lori, is with us today, and her grandfather is with us, who is a graduate of Beverly High School of 1953, George Cravatis. So we want to wish her the best, and Lori, thank you for coming. It is very important that when you send your registration in, that if both husband and wife are alumni, if you would please each fill out a form because of the way we separate them and so forth. Also, please meet the deadline because as you see how we set you up, we set up the classes with how many people are coming in the tables and so forth. The tables are set up properly. And if we add people, it's very confusing because it means the whole table is, everything gets kind of mixed up. So we'd appreciate it if you kind of follow those directions. At this time before the breakfast, I would like to have the mayor just say a few words to us. Mayor Cahill.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Marilyn, for organizing all this. Just want to say Welcome to the class of 1965. You have truly arrived. Amazing. And to everybody else, I hope you've been enjoying homecoming. It's great to see you all. Please come down to Lynch Park later on. We get some great music. It'll be a fun day. And if you want to stick around for the fireworks tonight, that's how we cap it off. So again, thank you so much. Enjoy the day. And Marilyn, for all you do to make this a reality, thank you for that very much.
We also have Terry Farmer in our midst, who runs the Beverly, Florida Reunion Association. And if Terry wants to come up a minute, she can tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Marilyn. I'm Terry Farmer McSenas. You've probably seen my name in the Salem News. I'm the one that's always promoting the Beverly, Florida reunion. And so many I know have homes in Florida. We have a wonderful reunion every year in Clearwater, Florida, next to Tampa. I say Clearwater because I'm from Boston. Next to Tampa, the last Saturday of February. We have a luncheon. Some people play golf. We have lots of fun. We hug. We talk about memories. We reminisce, and there's a lot of tears too. I hope that you'll all come to our Beverly reunion at the end of February. You can find us by Googling us. You can find us on Facebook. And if you have trouble with that, just Google my name. And I think you'll find something about the Beverly reunion. So hope to see you all there next February. By the way, this is going to be our 54th annual reunion in Florida. So I hope to see you there. Thank you, Marilyn.
Okay, now if everybody wants to enjoy their breakfast, and after the breakfast we will have the raffles. Thank you very much. First one for $100 is Marsha Stant. If Marsha could come down, please. Miss Marsha? Jean Normand. Pat Otley. Hey, Pat. Marsha Turcon. Marsha Turcon. Gordon Hopkins. Gordon Hopkins. Paul Mazurka. Linda George. We have 2 more left, and what they are is a free breakfast next year with a guest. And the first one is Margaret Nelson. Marion Rafter. Did she? Okay, I'll take it. I'll see her anyway. Okay, that's it. I want to thank everybody for coming and have a safe and happy year, and I'll see you next year. Take care.
All right, we're here at the Danvisport Yacht Club, and we're here for the annual Grand Reunion Beverly High School Breakfast. We've been doing this every year since, what, 1994, I believe was the first?
Right.
Okay. And the person who started it way back then was Priscilla Giddings Vogler, who has since passed away. And when that happened, we had somebody else that was good enough to step in and take over the responsibility of putting this vast thing together, and it is vast. We'll get to that in a minute. And so we've got she and one of her chief helpers out here. And so Marilyn Klavansky, please tell us a little bit about how you ended up at the reins of this organization.
Well, I believe that the year that she got ill, she knew she was ill in that last time she did it, and she said, we need somebody to take over. Otherwise, she said, this is going to be the end of it. She says, we have nobody, and she did not have anybody. So I spoke with girls that I graduated with in 1954, and said, what do you think? You think we can handle this? And so a lot of them said, sure, we'll help you out with it. So we took it over, and that was in 2007. So we have done it ever since, and it's been a great job. We've had a wonderful time doing it. We've enjoyed it. We've had a lot of good help. Ben Murray has been my sidekick, and between him and I, we get this thing going, and it seems to be very successful. Everybody is very happy and has a great time.
How long do you see yourself doing this?
Well, I've been asked that lately. I don't know. I'm going to be 80 myself next year. I probably will do it at least another year or two. We'll see. But I enjoy doing it, and it is a lot of work, but I do have a lot of help.
And now we're going to switch sides here. We're going to talk to Ben Murray, who's been, as she said, the sidekick here for many years. He got me involved in it a couple of years ago. And I'll let him say a few words about how this all comes together. Ben?
Well, many years ago when the other lady was running it, I was part of the show at that time. And I think you left out the fact, Marilyn, that her daughter had taken it over for 6 months or so, and then she gave it up. That's when you came in and took it over. She just kind of disappeared, and then you took it over. And from that point on, 2007, and I don't even think you knew I existed at that time because the names didn't get passed down. So I kind of inserted myself in the group, and from that time on, it's been a very successful. It's a lot of hard work. A lot of the ladies do a lot of work, and I think our goal is that at the end of the day, which is right about now, we have about 500 happy people that have left this reunion, and I think Marilyn will agree on that.
We also probably should mention that someone who helped get this all off the ground years ago from BevCam was Edmund Ted Josephs.
That's correct.
And he, for many years, did a program on the station called Beverly's Times Past. And he got together with some of the folks that had started this breakfast back then and interviewed them at the actual breakfast, which initially were held at the old high school, which of course is now Briscoe. And they had these in the high school cafeteria, and the cooking was done on site, I believe, by the people from the Vittori Rocky Veterans Post who do the monthly pancake breakfasts over there. And that was nice. I mean, you were back where the kids went to school, but it had problems. First of all, it got too small. And then second of all, these things are held in the summer and there's no air conditioning in there. And I remember seeing some of the early tapes of the programs when they showed the first breakfast and the second one, and people were fanning themselves, and it was really, really uncomfortable. So that's when they went searching for another venue, which has turned out to be Danversport Yacht Club, and this works out very well. I mean, you've got one large room, it's comfortable, it's air conditioned, and except for perhaps the speaker system, which could be louder, it's worked out very well. I would say that today, and I've been to many of these since our class was eligible in 1959, was one of the best I've been to. I think there were more here. Is this a record?
Yes, it is. It's 490 we had here today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think these things definitely are improving. They're getting to be more popular as people find out, and it's amazing there are people who don't know that this exists. We even put it on BevCam this year on their bulletin board so more people could find out about it. And these programs, such as we're doing today, will run on the channel for quite some time over the next few weeks and months. So there really isn't any reason why people shouldn't find out about this and try and join in once they become eligible after 50 years being out of Beverly High. And we just talked about the programs which have the old high school on the cover, and this class of 65 was the last year that spent part of the year of 1965 in the old school, which is now Briscoe. So I guess starting next year we'll have to put a new picture on the front cover. So I guess that about wraps it up. Would either of you care to say one last thing before we go?
No, I just appreciate everything you guys do. This has been very helpful, and I think it will help the people in the city to really understand where we're coming from. And I think everybody enjoyed today's breakfast. We do occasionally have complaints of the breakfast, but however, we get around that when the bacon's not just done properly. But anyway, that worked out good today because that bacon was really good.
Yeah, there's a big story behind that which we won't go into now, but suffice it to say this is why we have committees. The great sausage versus bacon debate went on for 3 months earlier this year, and we must say that today the bacon came out number one. It was perfect. Ben, any last words?
It was a very good breakfast today, and I enjoy working with the committee. Marilyn and I kind of sit there and act like husband and wife. We're accused of being. We have words with each other, but everything always turns out okay. So she's a very nice lady to work with.
That's right, and so is the whole committee, and their names are all printed on the back of the program, and we thank all of them. We also want to thank BevCam for sending a representative here to tape all of this every year. This is Matt Pujo, and he's a good friend of mine, and he does many, many unsung things at BevCam and deserves a lot of recognition. All right, we're out here on the balcony again behind the Danversport Yacht Club after the end of the annual Beverly High School reunion breakfast. And we have two people from the newly inducted class of 65. Your name is Peter Johnson, and your name?
Bob Ossoff.
Okay. And they've agreed to come out here, much against their will, and say a few words about what it was like back in 1965 at Beverly High. That was a transition year from the old school, which still stands on the corner of Colin Street and Sawyer Road, and the new school, which was up on Herrick Street, but is now gone because they built since then another new school. So they transitioned from one to the other back in 1965, and I understand you guys carried some books between schools.
Well, we certainly did. We were the first class in the new school and the last one in the old school, because Bob and I, we were talking about a little while ago, we carried all our books from the old school to the new school, and thus being the first ones through. And the biggest thing I remember about Beverly High School is that, I played on a football team in Beverly that was undefeated, untied, state champions. And we didn't have a lot of great players, but we had great friends. And we were the largest class to graduate from Beverly, and we had more people here today in our introduction into the reunion here, because we were all great friends, and we talked here. I haven't seen Bob in 50 years, and it seems like we're now best friends again. And that's what made Beverly just a little bit different and very close.
For me, it's real special to come back because I've lived the last 30 years in Nashville, and prior to that Chicago, and went to college, and I think that was a great separation. We all go off to college, went to medical school in Boston, and so I came in for the 5th reunion at Woodman's, and that's the last time I have seen classmates except for a few close. I played hockey, and so several of us in the hockey team have stayed close. But to come back is exactly that way. It's the Facebook experience of everybody getting excited. I was texting on Facebook or Facebooking on my plane because it had Wi-Fi, and giving everybody the minute by minute, and when we're landing, and it's just great. The feeling was you never left each other, and it was just a real warmth. It was a kind of interesting experience carrying those books and graduating out of the new high school and really being lost, having no idea. They had us separated into, I think, 3 different buildings or something.
Wings, I think.
Yes, and so the tradition at the old Beverly High School was we'd walk in 2 different directions around, and you'd see everybody in the morning. Now, for those couple weeks, we didn't necessarily see everyone, but I do remember the bus ride down to Cranes Beach for our class picnic, and Herman's Hermits and the British invasion was just starting to come across, so we're in the bus singing "I'm Henry VIII, I Am." Do you remember that?
This was a reunion weekend for us as well. We started out Friday evening over the Elks in Gloucester, and we had 210 people there for that reunion, and then we followed it up last night down at Acapulco and commandeered the outside and had another 100 friends there and then here. So it's been just a terrific 3 days, and it's 3 days of memories. Everybody has different recollections, and but the class, as large as it was, we're also very close, and we remain close, and that's what's really made this a special weekend for us.
Yeah, for those of us who came in from out of town, and even some of the locals, a lot of people stayed at the Beverly Garden Suites in North Beverly. It's not a plug. I don't have any ownership in it or anything, but we came back Friday night, and some of us stayed up and talked until about 4:30 in the morning, just catching up, and it was a lot of fun. It really was. And and I got to walk around yesterday. Karen McNamara, Glenna Tolvin, and I went to Karen's in my old neighborhood because we were 2 houses away from each other, and so we walked around the old neighborhood and had nostalgia. And one of our classmates grew up across the street from me, Evie Morandi, who drove.
Oh yes.
And so we went over and saw Evie, and her mom is Margaret Morandi, 101 years old, and it was wonderful. My mom and she were very close. It's special. Beverly has changed. It's really going down Cabot Street now is very exhilarating. And the beach is, of course, world class. So it was fun to come back. Now, realistically, we need to have another one before the next 50th, because I'm not sure how many of us are going to be around at age 138 to celebrate.
We've been talking about we've had such a good time. Instead of waiting 5 years, we're now going to have a little reunion amongst ourselves every 2 years.
That's a good idea.
That would be great.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to add is that social media has made it so easy to plan this. Through Facebook and our own page, and so now I think everybody's going to post pictures, and we'll be keeping up with each other, and it just makes long distance friendships that much easier.
That's true. Yeah, it's revolutionized everything.
It sure has.
Actually, the planning of the events is half the fun. It's just another excuse to get friends together and have a couple glasses of wine.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. And you're going to do this next year or a couple more years from now? Or
Well, we're going to come back to this Sunday event
Yeah.
every year, and then we're going to have our little class event. We're planning now every 2 years.
good.
And I'll come back for that. Absolutely.
All right.
That's a promise.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much. Again, coming to you live from Danvers Port Yacht Club, Dick Symmes saying good night for now.